Hello? Is this thing on? Whoo! What's up, guys? We're Mystic the Siren Sims, back at it again with another review video. Today we're looking at Wednesday, and I'm really going to try to get this out as soon as possible, so let's just get right into it. I'm going to let you know how this video will be formatted. It's going to be a longer video. I was able to cut out a section where I spoke about some of the discourse on Wednesday sexuality, so please go watch that video before you watch this one. Also, tidbit for both videos, spoiler alert, heavy spoiler alert. Alright, how I'm going to do this video is I'm going to give you a summary and my rating. The summary may be spoiler free, I'll see. I'll also have some scenes to remember that I want to bring up and some honorable mentions. And then I'll be showing some footage of the making and the backstory on Wednesday. Then I'll do the normal stuff, character by character. Then I'll talk about the music because there's a lot to discuss when it comes to the music. Then we can get into the themes and the scenery. And then I'll talk about what you'll see next on the channel. Alright. Okay, so Wednesday. As you guys know, I did a bare minimum research. I made sure I watched the first movie beforehand. I wanted to get to watch the second movie, but I was so busy with work that Wednesday popped up on me before I could even think about watching the next movie. And because I had other movies that I had to get out before, like I could have watched the second Addams Family movie before Disenchanted, but I had to get Disenchanted video out, you know. I will be watching the second Addams Family though, because I am interested in that story. Video on that coming within the next 2 weeks, hopefully. Anyways, so the Wednesday story is about Wednesday Addams as she goes to a new school, Nevermore, to try and find her way after being kicked out of multiple schools for violence and mischief. Nevermore is in the tiny town of Jericho, which is founded by pilgrims, and this show does not let you forget the real history of pilgrims, not just the Thanksgiving prettied up ones. So yeah, so that's practically the story. There is a monster lurking, and we practically spend the entire duration of the show trying to find out who the monster is, where it came from, and also watching Wednesday acclimate to the new school year. So that's a non-spoiler review. My overall thoughts on the show were that it is a 9, maybe an 8 if I think about it really hard. But right now, I'm going to be fair to how much I did enjoy it, and I'll give it a 9. However, in reality, it's a hard 8, soft 9. Now, why did it drop? It dropped because of a specific, well, not really specific character. Well, that character definitely made it drop, but there were lots of things that lowered it a little, but that character just solidified that there's no way it was going to be a 10 out of 10. I'll spoil the character now. Lucas, yeah, I'm going to get into that later. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved everything about it, apart from the things that I didn't like. But I liked it so much overall. The story, the music, the acting. Jenny is really good. She's really good. And she's usually good in what I see her in. I saw her in You. She was good in that. I heard she was on Disney. I think I remember maybe she was on that show, something other to the Max. That was the era of Disney I definitely was never going to watch. But yeah, she's a good actress when she got out of Disney. Really good. So, now I just want to get into the second section here, which would be the honorable mentions and scenes that I really wanted to remember. So, oh my god. So this is going to be a little all over the place because I started writing notes within the last 2 to 3 episodes because I figured I was going to make a video after I finish everything. But as I watched it, I was like, no, like, this video needs to be a production, needs to be one of my best edited videos. I need to put a lot of clips, as many clips as I can without being demonetized. I need to go off because this show went off, you know? So, right. I did like the scene later on, close to the end. And that also gave me a hint of something that happens later when Miss Thornhill says that she and Wednesday are a lot alike. Obviously, it was a fourth wall break because that's the person who played the original Wednesday in that iconic movie. So there was that. But that also kind of led us into figuring out who she was. And I'm going to say I'm so proud of myself for figuring it out before the reveal. I figured it out a whole episode before the reveal. I did. However, the way they did the loop-de-loop of misdirects was very good, and I really appreciated that. And I'm going to discuss that later. Alright? Now, I want to get into something here. I saw a lot here with Lucas and how they tried to give him a little bit of a mini arc. We're going to get into that when I get into his character, but I wanted to note that Wednesday playing the cello on top of the school building, also playing the cello at the town fair. Love that. Love that. I think Jenna actually learned how to play. So, bro, dedication. Thy name is Ortega. Every time I say her name, I think about Kenny Ortega, but we're gonna let it go. The scene where Tyler was begging Wednesday to share his feelings. Side note, I would love to have a discussion on whether or not Tyler actually liked her. I would love to have that discussion. Because now I'm wondering, you know, and if he didn't actually like her, it would make certain scenes make sense. Especially him, as the person said in the first video I'm going to drop, not taking a hint. Definitely makes sense if he doesn't actually care. Yeah. One thing I did really like, because I said it before she said it, I swear I did, guys, was when Wednesday told Eugene that he reminds her of Pugsley. I was like, she's treating Eugene like her little brother. I bet he reminds her of Pugsley. And I was correct. I was definitely correct. I loved that. I also liked the little tie-in of Wednesday writing her Nancy Drew noir novel Viper, or whatever that girl is called. Really cool and interesting. I kind of would love to see that. If it was like an animated short or something, I'd love to see it. Wednesday and her mother have a heart-to-heart. I thought that was really cute and interesting. I like that it wasn't perfect. I liked that it wasn't that Morticia was just going to be able to teach her daughter. Because at first that is what I wanted. I wanted it to be that Morticia would just be able to solve everything. But it is a little bit more interesting that, you know, she still had to do it herself. What this was of reconciliation, so she doesn't have to be that upset with her mom anymore. Okay. Also, I think the whole thing between Tyler and Xavier, I'm going to talk about that because you guys know how I feel about bullying. I'm not really into it. And this show really pulled me as it relates to stuff like that. It's like, oof. Oh my god. So, yeah, I'm going to get into that a little later. I just wanted you guys to see everything that I thought. Wednesday doesn't care that Xavier was bullied, or that's how it seems. Enid was over Wednesday's bullish, you know, all of that. being a thing. And I think that's it for now in terms of very important scenes that I definitely remembered. Also, the first time that the theme song came along, I loved it. I loved it. Well, anyways, now we're going to start talking about this show and everything that I thought, everything that I liked, everything that I did not like, because, you know, that's really important here. But before that, I wanted to get into the tidbits and backstory and the making of Wednesday, because I thought it was really interesting that, like, you know, Wednesday's character really did a lot. You know, like Jenna really did a lot. She really delved deep into that character, and you can see all the work that she put in, and I really appreciate that. So I'm gonna show a few clips here to show what was put into the show, the making behind it. You can just type in Wednesday on YouTube and find the full videos for yourself. Obviously, I can't just post all the full videos here because demonetization. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you that section now, and then after that, we're going to get into the character analysis. All right.
Thing you have going on here, and I want to just first say you're very young. You're 20 years old, right?
Correct.
You've been acting for more than half of your life. Since you were how old?
Since I was 9.
9 years old.
Yeah.
You started acting. You did commercials?
Yeah. Well, when I first started acting, because I had no connection to Hollywood or the industry or anything like that, I was told I could only do commercials.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've got some good commercials.
You did. What commercials did you do?
I did a lot. I feel like the most, I had a pretty big Old Navy commercial, and I was accidentally McDonald's girl for a year because 3 unrelated casting directors hired me in McDonald's commercials.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got a McDonald's commercial, and McDonald's was unaware you'd been in their last commercial?
Yeah, the last 2.
The last 2 commercials?
Yeah.
They're really not paying attention, are they?
That's their business.
What'd you do when you get that sense?
Yeah, it was weird because on the day I never got that sense because, you know, set is just set, and TV everything is so rushed and I didn't. That's me being very naive because you have someone like Tim Burton's name attached. But I thought, oh yeah, it'll go out and
Tim Burton is one of the great directors and such a creative director. What is he like to work with on a day-to-day basis?
He's one of my favorite directors I've ever worked with. He's such a sweet guy, a sweet little creature, which he would probably.
A sweet little creature.
Yeah, a little bit of a creature. He kind of mumbles to himself. It's like his own little language. I was speaking to him earlier today, and half of the conversation was. And you're like, oh yeah, totally, I feel the exact same way. And then you go and you continue about your day.
So you're speaking like a Burtonese of some kind. There's a language there that you have to learn to go along with.
Yeah.
And Wednesday, and Christina Ricci, who played Wednesday in the movie in the 90s, I guess that probably was, she's in the show as well.
Correct.
That had to be a little bit odd for her, I would think, that now you're Wednesday, and it's like looking at her own past or something.
I feel like I personally made it a little weird. I feel she was really sweet about it. Me, it was one of the most awkward experiences I've ever had.
Why? How did you make it weird?
Well, because she's, you know, I'm dressed up the way she was 30 years ago, and she's getting to watch me, but I know her as Wednesday in my head, and I think socially I can be kind of hard to communicate with at times, and sometimes I would say something as a joke, and I think I have a very dark sense of humor, and she'd go, ooh, that's dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that I just wouldn't want to talk again.
You know it's dark when Wednesday thinks it's dark.
Yeah, but she's a sweetheart. Like, if it hadn't been for her being so generous and professional and impressive as an individual, I think I was able to get over myself within the first couple days.
Well, I got to tell you something. We were flipping through the Netflix queue last night, and my kids, I don't know if they're old enough. I don't think they're old enough to see it, but they'll probably figure out a way to see it one way or the other. They seem genuinely excited by the previews.
I feel like, not to pitch my show or anything.
Well, that is kind of why you're here, so go ahead.
I do feel like there's a bit of everything for everyone, and everyone is so diverse and different, and I feel like jokes are safe enough, but still disturbing enough. Because I mean, hey, you go back to the 90s, some of the stuff that they have in there was not cool.
Yeah, well, you know what? Some people dip, some people don't. It's as simple as that. It's great to have you here. The show's called Wednesday, and it premieres on Wednesday, November 23rd.
Sides of her in this series that you've never seen before or may not seem authentic to her, and having her go through the typical teenage experience and trying to avoid making her every other human was immensely important to me, and I hope that care translates. Hi, my name is Jenna Ortega, and this is how I became Wednesday Addams. I first heard about the role of Wednesday shooting a horror film with A24 called X, and I got an email one day that Tim Burton wanted to meet with me for the role of Wednesday Addams. I was pretty taken aback. I didn't know if he had any familiarity with who I was, but then also Wednesday I actually was compared to my entire life, so it was just kind of a weird circumstance. I kind of felt like I was being pranked or something. I was always compared to Wednesday because I'm very dry, and I don't think people can tell when I'm being serious or when I'm being sarcastic. And I didn't think it was that bad until we were on set sometimes, and Tim might say, oh, that was dark. When I first got offered the role, I did not even consider fan base. I didn't consider it until we were shooting, or when I started having conversations with Netflix and they were talking about things like Comic-Con and Funko Pops. I think that's when it really started to settle in. The internal panic that I faced, the pressure of, oh, people live for this character. People tattoo this character on their bodies. She's been a consistent Halloween costume for years. I still panic about her. I still lay awake at night staring at the ceiling thinking, I should have done this. And it's been done so flawlessly in the past. And that wasn't a trait of Wednesday. That's something that Christina started. It is scary. It's a lot of pressure. And you want to do justice to someone like her. And there's a lot of anticipation and expectation. And what an incredible job. And I think that I had to go to work every day, remember. It's a Netflix show, you know? My mom is an ER nurse, she saves lives. I want to make people feel good and I want to give them that break, and that's all it is. Christina didn't join the shoot till towards the end. I was a really big admirer of her work. The strange thing is we never talked about her being Wednesday once. I think maybe one time on the last week of shooting I made a reference to her Wednesday, but I think that we both were able to appreciate the fact that they were going to be different. I didn't want to knock her off and I didn't want to be doing some impression of her, and I think it was really important that we just kept our ideas separate. Physicality-wise,
for all types of outcasts with vampires, werewolves, and psychics and sirens. If you were to attend Nevermore, what kind of outcast would you be?
I would be the outcast that don't have a face. I don't know what their superpowers, but they're the greatest. I remember on set when, as soon as Tim saw them, because they were in hair makeup for hours, he said, that guy, put him right here. And it was right in the back of a shot when we were doing that walkthrough at the top of the whatever. I would love to be one of those guys. What about you? What kind of outcast would you want to be?
I kind of like being a werewolf, but for a change, I'd want to be a psychic. Kind of like Rowan's.
Yeah.
I like telekinesis.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be really fun.
I feel like Xavier and I have the same powers, except he's just more talented because he has visions. And he can draw and make them come to life. I feel like Wednesday kind of got a short stick or something. Yeah. What do you think about this world and this version of the Addams family is so different from previous iterations?
Well, I think the first thing is that it's mostly centered around Wednesday because we've never really seen her as the lead character before, and it's following her and her journey through high school. And I also like that it's kind of integrating the Addams family into modern society. Like, this is clearly the 21st century, and it's funny to see them kind of interact with the modern world, if you would say. But I also think that you are really passionate about this character, and you spent so long figuring it out, and you really put in the hard work, and I think that's really going to show. I think people are going to like this.
I love her.
Wednesday is such an iconic character, especially been done so many times in the past. Did you feel any pressure going into this role?
I felt immense pressure. I felt a lot of pressure to do it right because she's such a beloved character. I've never played someone who's been done before, so I think that was a really interesting thing for me. And yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for the character. We've never spent this much time with Wednesday on camera before. I think there's going to be some more depth or some more emotional range that we haven't really seen from her before. So I think trying to introduce that to the audience in a safe way, pulling bits of nostalgia for them in terms of throwing back to previous iterations without knocking anyone off and still making it something new and fresh was a bit of a challenge, but it was interesting. Physicality-wise, it's funny, I think my posture has improved immensely since working on that job because I always made sure I had a straight back. I didn't move my hands or arms much if I didn't have to. At some point during the first couple weeks of shooting, I did a take where I did not blink at all, and Tim said, I don't want you to blink anymore. So that's another thing too, where it's just weird mannerisms. We try to incorporate things like that. The thing about the blinking is I didn't realize that I was doing it. It just kind of happened. Because every time we started a take, I would reset my face, I would drop all the muscles in my face, and Tim really liked the Kubrick stare where I stared through my eyebrows. It's just a bit intimidating. I think something like that is not blinking. Clearly it struck something with him, and I trust his opinion so much because he's Tim Burton. It's funny watching him work. When he genuinely appreciates something, he gets excited like a kid. And I also didn't want to seem like I was doing too much with my voice, but I think that there is something about her that is formal. I mean, she's so intelligent. She has incredible vocabulary.
I'm stubborn, single-minded, and obsessive, but those are all traits of great writers and serial killers.
I kind of altered my pitch a little bit, I think, at times, and also the way that I pronounce certain words. I know that they wanted to bring some sort of realistic aspect to her and make her more of a human being. So I tried, and maybe in more dramatic scenes or more intense scenes, to kind of drop it a little bit.
Attempted murder charges. How would that have looked on your record?
Terrible. Everyone would know I failed to get the job done.
I might go to stunt rehearsal to learn the fight sequence that we have going on for the next day, so I'd do that for an hour, and then I might have a cello lesson, and then I'd go home. That was my day. That was my life for 8 months in Romania. The first time I went on set, I had a walkthrough with Tim. And the first set that I saw was the dorm room, Enid and Wednesday's dorm room. Cello. When you do a television series, I feel like first season you're still discovering the character and yourself because we've never seen Wednesday as a teenage girl. She's always been 8, 10-year-old, and when young children say really dark things, so genuinely, it's very sweet and charming in a sense where, as soon as someone gets older and they become a teenager, it's kind of nasty. It's a weird game to play, especially when all anybody wants to see is Wednesday be rude. That's the kind of the charming thing about her. She says what everybody wishes they could say.
When I look at you, the following emojis come to mind. Rope, shovel, hole.
It was something that I tried to play too at certain beats of the show where if she did have disagreements with someone or something she did do to somebody else was inconsiderate, it was never coming from malicious intent, but just genuine misunderstanding, bringing that layer of innocence back or genuine appreciation for all things a bit more gothic. But we've never spent this much time with Wednesday. She's always been the one-liner, she's always been the one-off, and you're gonna see sides of her in this series that you've never seen before or may not seem authentic to her, and having her go through the typical teenage experience and trying to avoid making her every other human immensely important to me, and I hope that care translates. I do remember though, in the second episode, I'm playing with this telescope and I'm seeing something in the water, and when I was doing it, I kind of did the eyebrow waves and we were playing with it a bit, and I told Tim, I said, I feel like a silent film actor, which I've always wanted to do silent film, and it was really exciting for me because I felt like that really encouraged mannerisms or kind of balanced the aspects of surrealism and realism in the film, and that's something I think that he really appreciated as well, so we kept saying, oh, it's like a silent movie, it's like a silent movie, and I think tackling something like that in that way, because they can be very theatrical and dramatic and intense, and that is what the Addams Family is, but it is a hard thing to play with an expressionless character. And also to have an emotional arc as a character and push a series forward. I think something that we tried to do when we were shooting though is with every take we would try different versions. We'd do the flat version, we'd do a version with vocal inflection, a version with expression, so much trial and error, all on camera too. I appreciated Tim too, because if I told him, I said, hey, be straight with me, is this awful? And he would tell me yes or no. By the way, he never called me awful, he's too sweet. You work with someone like Tim, it's like he
Alright, so I'm going to talk about the characters. First I'm going to talk about Wednesday because I feel like we should just get into that right now. She's the best character, which is a good thing. Sometimes when they have titular characters, they're not the best character, and that can definitely be the sign of a show being bad. But they definitely went out of their way to make sure that Wednesday was that girl, and that girl completely. There was barely any moments where I was like, oh my god, Wednesday. Like, nah, like I was saying that more towards everybody else. And most of the things that you could say Wednesday was wrong for was in relation to her love triangle and her friendship with Enid. Whereas I'm just thinking, first of all, in my opinion, allegedly, she's asexual or aromantic, and she's possibly a sociopath, allegedly. So Enid saying things like, what's wrong with you? Be normal, be my friend, treat me the way I treat you. Like, girl, that's not possible. She's neurodivergent, she don't work that way. I love that word, neurodivergent. It's so cool. But anyways, so you know, like with Enid, I was just like, girl, that's not gonna help her, that's not gonna make her change. And with Tyler and Xavier, it's like, she's not going to be able to love you the way y'all want. Relax. Calm it down. Okay, calm it down. But she is just this powerhouse. And it's so interesting because I don't always like the OP character. And they somehow definitely made her OP without making her actually OP. She's good at school. She's so good at... Well, I wouldn't say she's so good at music. But she is able to... sing in a tone that only dogs could hear. That entire scene was hilarious. She is exceptional at the cello. She's good at fencing, and you can tell that she got that because she's in a Renaissance household where like each member of the family is like a jack of many trades. Like they all know many different things, and so she learned a little bit from everybody in the house. And you can see that when she goes into a school environment, that means that she's just elite at school, and that's just so cool. The whole death puns can get a little cringy, just a little cringy, and sometimes they're just put there to be put there. But other times when they're clever, and I really like it. So, you know, yeah, I liked her character. I liked that she stayed pretty consistent. Yes, she had a bit of an emotional arc where she opened up more to Tyler, apologized to Xavier, pseudo apologized to Enid. You know, she did have an emotional arc, which is necessary, but I think it's kind of sad that she had to have that arc, which is one of the reasons why I didn't really ship her with Tyler, but I liked what he was doing before him being the chupacabra or the hide or whatever. So what I mean by that, he would see her darker side and he would just embrace it. Of course, it was definitely annoying to me when he would try to push the romantic stuff, but it was definitely understandable that he would want that, because as girls, you do that. You know that a guy is not gonna change, but you think that if he's willing to give you a chance, that means that he must be willing to compromise and switch up just for you. And I guess that was the annoying part. Everybody in the show kept hoping that Wednesday would switch up just for them. Like Enid thought she'd become a more attentive friend and go shopping with her and have cookies and wear pink just for her. It's when Enid realized that that wasn't going to happen and decided to appreciate Wednesday for who she was. That's when I felt like she was a little bit more justified to be upset later on. You know, like with the birthday party thing. That was a show that Enid was starting to understand who Wednesday really was. And so when Wednesday sort of just acted like she didn't care, even though that's classic Wednesday, and I'm not really going to blame Wednesday for that completely, I wouldn't be like, girl, you know how Wednesday is. Because no, like, black birthday cake, black present, in a crypt, like, that's like the best scenario. The best scenario to try and get somebody like Wednesday to open up. She did everything that she could. And I respect that. That's what I liked with Tyler as well. He had a date with her in a crypt, tortured her with a movie, did everything that she would enjoy. And that's why I think in the end she did fall for him. However shortly that lasted. And I wasn't mad at it. Not because I thought they would be great together and I wish she wasn't the Hyde. No, I don't really care. When I realized he was the Hyde, which I'm going to get into that when I get into Tyler's character, because that really annoyed me. Because I realized who Miss Thornhill was at least an episode or two before she was revealed, I was really upset with the whole Tyler thing. But anyways, so what I want to say about that is that I think Wednesday's character didn't need an arc. I feel like the show would have been way more interesting if people just genuinely accepted her for who she was instead of her having to change. You know, it's like if Wednesday is toxic, but that is her personality. You know, and it kind of goes into something else that I'll probably make a video about later, as it pertains to the superhero, supervillain, vigilante complex, where every bad person needs redeemable qualities and every bad person needs an arc. It's like, why can't we just enjoy baddies anymore? You know, like, why can't we just enjoy them for who they are? Why do we have to justify them with some rightness or some righteousness? Why do they have to earn a level of righteousness to earn our respects? Do you really like villains every now and then, or do you just like flawed superheroes? Because there's a bunch of flawed superheroes out there. I can send it to the comics, you know. But when I'm watching Wednesday, I don't really expect her to be this warm and forthcoming. Now, her warmth towards Eugene, I'm letting that slide because I could see similarities between Eugene and Pugsley, and I thought that was really cute. So I'm okay with that. But like, her romantically opening up and then her sort of like feeling sorry because of Enid's feelings, it seemed a little out of place to me personally. Not saying that she should be this cold-hearted person, but I feel like the show didn't dig deep enough for me to believe some of the things that happen sometimes. And here's what I mean. I'm gonna say there was a whole bunch of scenes where there was a lot of exposition where they would talk about why she probably doesn't feel anything most of the time. But then instead of her trying to feel something in those moments where they're explaining why she doesn't feel anything, it's just kind of hammered home that, hey, she's just not gonna feel anything. And then 2 episodes later, she puts away the gossamer curtains and lets out a little feeling. I don't know about that. Anyways, let me move on. Wednesday's my favorite character, but yeah. Let's just go through the others. Tyler. Let's get into Tyler right now. I was pissed. I figured out the twist with him right as they were about to kiss. It's like when they were talking, they were alone, and I was thinking about the idea of the Jekyll and Hyde monster. I was like, what if it's Tyler? It was a throwaway thought, but then as soon as they kissed and then she got the vision, I was like, I was mad at me. Because I was like, I really just found that out seconds before they revealed it. I'm getting slow. I should have figured this out at least 2 episodes before. I'm not gonna, because like, even when Wednesday explained how it all went down, there was evidence, you know, like Xavier was always there, quote unquote. Tyler was always there. Like, oh, I should have known. But yeah, Tyler is a coffee boy who fell for Wednesday. And I thought that was out of nowhere in the beginning as well. I was like, why are you just helping her? Doing all this stuff for her for free? Like, what is going on? Like, what is it about Wednesday that y'all just be like, oh yeah, Wednesday. Like, I know guys like a challenge, but I don't know about this, you know. So I wasn't necessarily wary of him. Like, there's something wrong with him, but I thought it was weird how the writers made that relationship go forward, because I was just like, wow, writers, I don't really understand how you put this together. It's a little clunky, okay, but I guess you smoothed it out later. Let's talk about Xavier, so I can just squish them together at the end, because I want to talk about that bully plot. Xavier is the brooding popular artist boy who just broke up with the popular girl, and he's out for the market, and so of course our main character has to catch his eye. That kind of makes more sense than Tyler liking her out of nowhere. And I also thought Tyler was way older than them at first. I thought he was at least like 18, so I was like, I don't know if I like this. But then again, the show was supposed to be dark, so I don't know if they're trying to set a precedent or, you know. So Xavier likes her, and then we learned something pretty cool, that they have a little bit of a backstory. She saved him when they were young from, you know, being incinerated. And so he repaid the favor when our resident weirdo Rowan tried to unalive our sweet dear Wednesday. I'll bring up Rowan for 5 seconds. He was here. He was interesting. I always think gloomy, nerdy characters are really interesting because they're kind of like a blank slate of quirkiness that you can really build off of. Of course, they decided to unalive him and throw him away. So that's Rowan. R.I.P. I guess. So Xavier has been going through a lot. For some reason, he's able to see the monster, and I don't know why. I still don't know why. I'm gonna check and see why. He can see the monster in his dreams, like it's connected to him. I have no idea how that works. But of course, because he keeps seeing the monster everywhere, and he keeps happening to be wherever the monster is, and all the coincidences, Wednesday's ace detective skills. You get that? Ace? Sorry. Her detective skills are like, oh, it's obviously you. And it's like, that's a little... I'll say this too. I was a little disappointed in Wednesday because I knew it wasn't Xavier. It was a little too obvious. And I felt like it was very out of character for Wednesday to assume that it was Xavier as well. You know, it's like, you're too smart for this. This is obviously either a setup or the writers just got lazy. Like, there's no way it's Xavier. But anyways, Xavier and Tyler are fighting for Wednesday's affections. Emphasis on the fighting. My God, can you both not take a hint? She's not interested in anybody. She hyper-focuses on a goal. And that is it, brother. Like, there's no boys involved. But I wanted to discuss something that I also saw in the Twitter thread. I don't think I read it. But it was saying something about... you know, how the love triangle wasn't needed. And I'll say this, the love triangle definitely had its annoying moments, most definitely. But the writers wrote it well enough to show that each of the boys were needed. So, Xavier has backstory with Wednesday, is connected to the monster through a psychic link, is also seeing Bianca, which helps fuel that rivalry. Xavier is a part of many plot threads in the story. So the added benefit of him also liking Wednesday is just another added thread. You can't really delete Xavier without having part of the story go missing. Same with Tyler. He seems a little insignificant, but he's connected to the police, so he is a good in for Wednesday. He is willing to help her in adventures. He brings a new perspective to the Pilgrim boys because he used to be a part of them and he used to be a bully. So both of them aren't useless. They were given some useless writing when it came to that love triangle, but they're not useless. When I want to speak about the two of them, I'll speak about the fact that apparently they beat up Xavier and destroyed one of his arts. As somebody who hates bullies, I was definitely on Xavier's side. But Wednesday did something that made me respect her character, but not respect her. So after I heard what I heard, I was like, wow, so I would never be friends with her. Like, I just can't. But in terms of who she is in the show, I like her as a main character. And this is what I'd be talking about. Sometimes if you guys like a villain or a bad person or a flawed character, you can like them without justifying it. I think it's kind of gross that she deliberated over it for 5 seconds and was like, I would have done even worse. Oh, let's look into each other's eyes and do this incredible dance scene. Like, that sucked. That sucked. I felt really bad for Xavier. And he was so traumatized by the fact that he told her what happened and she brushed it off like she didn't care, because she doesn't care, that he wanted to use his ex's powers to get her out of his head. So I definitely felt for Xavier there. I was like, damn. She don't even give a damn, do she? She don't even give a damn, and it sucks. So I definitely felt bad for him there. But looking at that from another perspective, and this is not me justifying, this is something I thought was very interesting. So she confronts Tyler about the incident, and he admits to it. But somehow it makes them even closer. Like, the fact that he has that darkness in him makes her respect him more, makes her more attracted to him, as small as that attraction may be. And I thought that was really interesting. I was like, huh. It made their dynamic more interesting because they really were a little more alike than they both thought. And him being the Hyde also brings that dynamic into a bigger thing because he's actually an outcast. So he actually could understand. And so there is definitely layers to that relationship that, you know, people don't want to look at because they don't ship it. Which I understand, but that doesn't mean that there are no layers to it. There are layers. You just don't want to see it because you don't like it. Me, I'm indifferent, so I'm able to see it from the good and bad lens. I don't think her and Xavier would have ever worked. Because she just didn't show any interest in him at all. Something that you cannot say about her and Tyler. She obviously showed interest in Tyler, but she didn't really show any interest in Xavier. Anyways, those are just the Triangle Boys. Moving on to the next character, we're going to go at them in quick succession now. Bianca, I liked her a lot. I feel like the Mid-Sun or the Midnight Sun or whatever the cult's name is, if she's really going to help her mother with the cult, I need a spin-off series. I don't want it shoehorned in the back of the show. I want a mini-series or a spin-off with Bianca and her mother fighting the cult. I want to see it. I want to see. You guys know I'm the Siren Sims. I want more mermaid content. Give it to me. And yes, I did used to watch the show Sirens, which is, you know, but that show is cancelled because y'all don't know good writing either. Look, I just want to see that. I think Bianca is fabulous. They tried to show her off as a really itchy with a B character, but then it slowly just went to, no, she just doesn't like Wednesday, which is very understandable, you know? And because she doesn't like Wednesday, at a school where a little bit of evil is okay, they do a little bit of evil towards each other, and that's about it. Like, it was a really clean little rivalry. Nobody's feelings were really hurt, well, except hers, because she was simping over Xavier while Xavier was simping over Wednesday. And I did agree with her when she was complaining to him, like, she treats you terribly and you can't get enough. I'm like, yeah, but you know, some guys like that. Some guys, they really They really just want a girl to treat them terribly, and then at the end show a spark of interest that just gets them ripped up. Like, yeah. But I like Bianca a lot. I think she's really pretty. I want to see more of her. I want to know more about the siren side of the school. I want to know more about their powers, their abilities, their history. I just need the sirens to be more there. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. Yeah. Also, let's go into the next character. Bianca is my second favorite character. Alright? Okay, good. Now, next will be Enid Sinclair, the late blooming wolf. We all knew that she was going to become a wolf at the most opportune time to help the plot, but may I say, the VIP award goes to Bianca and Enid. The way Enid beat the brakes off of Tyler. Girl! You could almost say that was a plot hole, because how did she get that good in a form she's never been in? But I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. That fight was so cute to see. She really beat his little ass. She beat his little ass. So Enid is just the colorful classic girl who's up on all the lingo, up on all the gossip, and she wanted to be regular friends with Wednesday. However, we know that's never gonna happen. Like, regular friends with Wednesday, how? Okay. But of course she gets over that, and she learns to be friends with Wednesday in a way that Wednesday can understand, where they can both get something out of it. And I really respect her for that. Good girl, good lass. Great, we love it. I love her relationship with Thing. It's so cute. They're so cute together. I hate her relationship with Gorgon. Doesn't make any sense. She almost made more sense with Lucas, unpopular opinion, and I said almost. But you guys know how I am. I prefer people that actually have things in common than people who just like each other because they're attractive. You could argue that her and AJ had stuff in common, but I feel like it's not as much, or the show didn't pronounce it as much as they pronounced the similarities between her and Lucas. But I know why they did that now, and I'm going to complain about it in just a minute. Just you wait. Next character, we're just going to skip all the way to AJ right now. Boring. Don't care about him. He's lucky his powers are temporary, or he would have been stuck as stone and kicked out of the show, and I honestly wouldn't have minded that. He's okay. I just don't really care for him. They didn't really do anything with his character. Is he dumb? Is he smart? Is he a himbo? Is he not? It's whatever. That's AJ Gorgon. Okay, cool. Principal Larissa, Queen Petty, Queen Jealous, Queen Green Eye, Queen Get Over It. I like her, and R.I.P. because she a real one. But the way she hated Morticia because she wanted Gomez the red-nosed reindeer. Okay. I'll admit he was a little cuter when he was younger, just a little bit. But girl, whatever. So she's a principal, and I thought she was really interesting. I was really suspecting her for a moment there, because why are you covering up Rowan's unaliving? Why are you covering that up, ma'am? Why are you covering that up? I'm so like, can we have that conversation? Why are you covering it up? I don't get it. We gonna see though. So in the end, it turns out that even though she might be a little jealous of Morticia, she doesn't really let it get in the way of her protecting her students, which I respect. You know, keep your personal business to yourself. She did that. Let me see. How else? The misdirect! The misdirect of her pretending to be Tyler. Now, because I did think that Tyler still had residual feelings for Wednesday, I did think he was actually there helping her. I didn't think she would ever date him again. So I thought she would be like, yeah, thanks for helping me, but you and me, no. But I did think he was there. But when they did the switch off of that was Larissa, I was like, yep. Snap. That was brilliant. You got me. Love it. Love to see it. The show was a little bit campy in that moment where she just stood there for like 10 whole seconds while she revved up, while she set up the needle to stab her. Like, girl, get out the dock. What? yeah, but you know how that stuff goes in shows like these. It's always what's happening. But yeah, she passed, and I'm sad about it. I think she was a really decent character. I think she was one of those ambiguous characters that you were never really sure you could trust. You know? But I'm glad that we could trust her in the end, because that's all that matters. You know, you can trust them in the end. And honestly, I'm glad that she was trustworthy at the end of it all. Sheriff Gilpin. We need to talk about him, because I don't think I ever really liked him. I did respect that he was okay with Wednesday and Tyler before Tyler's descent into madness. But whoever, I don't really like him as a person. First, he had the vendetta against Wednesday's dad. Not even because Gomez did anything to his family. Like, he had a vendetta just to have a vendetta. I guess you could say he had the vendetta because he was friends with the mayor at the time, and so he was like upset on his behalf. But then that mayor guy, he made everything, you know, what's the word? He made the incident work for him, right? So it's like, why are you plotting revenge when the mayor made it all work for him? Like, it's not like, oh, he lost his wife and his son is crippled and it's all Gomez. Like, nah, like, this nigga made the tragedy work for him, and he good. Like, what? He good out here. So I don't know, he was just a little annoying. People were saying that he had an idea that his son was a Hyde. And I'm kind of confused about that, because it's like, did you know that he was a Hyde or not? Like, I'm just kind of confused as to where some of those thoughts came from. I don't know. As it comes on to Tyler being the Hyde, it's really pathetic. Like, bro, you're just gonna listen to this random woman who does not know you just because she claims to know what happened to your mom? Like, first of all, you helping her awaken that Rossius Pilgrim is not gonna help bring your mother back, bro. Like, not at all, not even a little bit. Why did you think this was a good idea? Whatever. And apparently he's still there at the end. People have some ending videos talking about what the ending would mean. I might watch one, but to me it's just like, why is he even here? Why? Anyways, the sheriff and Tyler, whatever with those two. Who cares? At least the sheriff finally listened to Wednesday. I don't know if that means that he's incompetent or that Wednesday is just that good at conning adults. Anyway, Mayor Walker, may he rest in peace a little bit, because your son ain't crap, and I wonder where he got that from. But yeah, he was, I'm not even gonna say he was trying to help, but it's tragic how he passed. And I guess the writing is trying to say that since Lucas is getting a redemption, he didn't deserve to have his father die, but like, nobody really thought he deserved to have anybody die in the first place, so I don't really care. But yeah, Mayor Walker is gone, and he didn't really do much, but, you know, not do what he was supposed to do in the beginning, which was just to make sure Gomez didn't get implicated. So you know what? Thank you for getting him out. That was an excellent scene there that showed Morticia's baddie skills. So you know what? You were good for something. You were good for that. Anyway, let's get into the person I hate the most in this show. And that is Lucas Walker. I'm gonna need y'all to stop. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to cut it out expeditiously. Why in God's name, and God's name is sovereign, why in God's name are they trying to put Lucas and Bianca together? You notice how I could speak about Bianca without even mentioning Lucas? Because she is her own person and she don't need Lucas. I know some of y'all probably upset that she was trying to get back with Xavier. I'm not really upset with that because I think that the reason they broke up was very interesting. You know? I think... Let me see. I think that the way they broke up and the reason why deserved its own backstory. Alright? And since it is that we didn't get to see that backstory, there is that to be contended with. Now, I'm saying this now, and y'all can be mad at me if you want. I have a bias. I like to see pretty black women in relationships, you know, and I don't necessarily mind if they're with white men like other people mind. They care so much. I don't mind it. I think it's cute sometimes. So, if she ends up with Xavier back in season 2, I don't mind it. So, just to say that. But I don't like that they're trying to set up her and Lucas. And I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see who's real and who's not. I think some of y'all would prefer to see her with a bully like Lucas than to see her with Xavier just because y'all don't like what happened with Xavier and my freaking Wednesday. Stop it. The way that they tried to make Lucas likable by like showing that he felt sorry, showing that he had a lot in common with Enid, I thought that was kind of interesting. Him and Enid for 5 seconds. It was textbook though. Oh, the bad guy has a little bit of a heart and the girly girl who's really loud likes him. Like, nothing new there. But I thought that was more interesting than Enid and AJ. I was going to call him Ajax. I was more interested than Enid and AJ. But like, bro, is you serious? Is you actually serious, bro? Like, you really think I want to see Lucas and my freaking Bianca? The way he touched her, like, well, not touched her, but the way he spoke to her, like Miles Morales, and was like, hey, ew, do not do that. Do not do that at all. Like, that's just gross. Don't put them together. Don't make them date. Don't do any of that. And guys, they trauma bonded. They did struggle love, black love, all right there. Did you guys not see it? Her. I just don't want to become my mom. Him. I've been told I was going to be nothing my whole life, and now I'm just trying to make sure I don't do that. It's so boring and basic, and we've heard it before, and it made me so mad. I went off on a 10-minute rant about it, so I'm not going to rant about it here. But I don't like it. It's not original. It's not cute. The guy who plays Lucas is a cute kid, but that doesn't mean that he needs to be with Bianca just because they're both black. Why is struggle love the only love that black women deserve? Get over it. You know? Get over it now. Because I'm over it. Okay? And so, that's just going to be it for now when it comes to that character. Goodbye, Lucas. We'll see you next season. Morticia and Gomez. Now, Ugly Gomes has won me over a little bit. He's not as terrible as I thought. He won me over with a little backstory, and, you know, he's alright. I'll live with it. I wish he looked more like the original Gomez, but he was charming. He was nice. He had a level of charisma. He cool. This Morticia is not nearly as magnetic as the original one, but she's good. I think they're all decent enough to be background characters in a Wednesday centered show. So you know what? Good job. I liked her. I liked the dynamic of all the family. Lurch is there. Lurch is cute still. Find me if you want to. Pugsley, I liked her little ups and downs with Pugsley. I have to admit, in the first episode where she took Pugsley out of the locker, I swore that she did that. Like, I only saw the movie once, but I already know their dynamic. I already know. It's a little bit confusing because Pugsley seems to be more quote-unquote normal than she is, but he still takes her abuse as family warmth. Whatever. But he probably just accepts her for who she is. Huh, Tyler and Xavier? Anyways. Yeah, so I love the family. They were great. Love Thing. He was so useful, so great. I felt a little something when it looked like he was gonna die. So I'm glad he didn't. Go ahead, boy. Do your thing. Let me see. Is that... Oh, Uncle Fester was pretty cool. He was nice. I didn't really like the voice that was used. I feel Uncle Fester has a more deep, frightening voice, but it's okay. I liked how much it seems that, like, you know the way Fester said that Wednesday was his favorite? I feel like Fester is Wednesday's favorite. You know, like, that's her favorite uncle. Very interesting. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I think that does it for the family. Oh, the grandma, they were spoken about the grandma in spirit. Maybe she'll appear or we'll get a little bit of a backstory in season 2. This is me speaking season 2 into being. Yeah? Okay. Only a few more characters left. The therapist, Dr. Kingbot. R.I.P. Them showing that she was the one who likes to do taxidermy. I thought that was interesting. It was a very small way of showing that, like, a lot of people in this town have more outcast mentality, more of that scared mentality than you would think. And I think that's very interesting to, like, note. You know? So I think that was interesting. That was kind of cool. But yeah, Kingbot tried her hardest with Wednesday. Wednesday was not gonna let a vulnerable bone near her body. And then she ended up passing because plot convenience and also misdirect. Good thing is I never thought Kingbot was the Jekyll. That's what I'm calling the master. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I never thought she was the Jekyll. I always knew it was Miss Thornhill. Well, not always. 2 episodes before the reveal, I definitely thought, it's Miss Thornhill, ain't it? She's the Jekyll, isn't she? So, I definitely thought that it was Miss Thornhill. So yeah, R.I.P. Dr. Kingbot. You didn't deserve to die. However, I do want to know what she was talking about with Xavier. Why was Xavier troublesome to his dad? Because of his powers? I need more backstory on that season 2. Get on it. Now, let's get to the Pilgrims. I hate bullies. I don't care about bullies. I also don't like racists either. So I was glad that they were being villainized this entire show. We love to see it. Anyways, let's get on to the Dr. Crackstone, Crackpot, yeah, Crackpipe. Yeah, useless villain. Useless. I thought the ending battle between those two was so boring. I was like, oh my god, is this really what we're ending it to? Like, this is boring as hell. But it did the job, so great. Also, Miss Thornhill is an idiot. I feel like it would have been great if Crackstone had killed her, just to kind of show her that everything she did was in vain. Like, he doesn't give a crap about her. She should have never done anything. Your family was crazy. If you managed to survive, you should have lived your life, ma'am. Why try to infiltrate a whole school and kill all the students? Nobody's bothering you. You literally woke up a normie monster to bother everyone. Do better, ma'am. Miss Thornhill really thought she was doing something. But I am proud of myself for figuring out that it was her. Like, I did figure that out. I did figure it out. I did. Now, I think that's all that I have to say as it regards to the characters. I'm sorry that was like a 40-minute chunk, bro. But we're gonna go into a little bit more character background and everything. This video is gonna be long. I told y'all I really like this, so I wanted to go deep into everything that I can remember and discuss. Okay, so y'all gonna listen to me today. Now, what I wanted to get into was a few more things that I wanted to go deeper on. And one of the first things is that I think Wednesday is a sociopath. This is my personal opinion. I think she's a sociopath. I might put in some videos to show that here. If I can remember to put that. I might just put it in with the behind the scenes because I think she's a sociopath, so I'll put it in there. I think Wednesday is asexual or aromantic. And I think that makes the whole debate that I put forward in the previous video about Tyler versus Xavier, I think it's very strange because she's obviously not gay, but she's not straight either, so why are we fighting? It's just that you hate that straight people have had the majority for a long time, and now that the gays are turning the tide.
What does aromantic mean? An aromantic person is a person that does not develop romantic feelings for other people. Being aromantic is not the same as being asexual. An aromantic person might be asexual, or they might not be. Being aromantic has nothing to do with what a person is interested in sexually, only romantically. Some aromantic people might still date or marry other people for a number of reasons. Some people marry others for cultural reasons, some would like to start a family even if they do not have romantic interests, and some do it for financial reasons. An aromantic person can be any sexuality, or asexual. Some aromantic people date other people from feeling pressure that they have to be in a relationship from societal norms. So not all aromantic people are open about their feelings in regards to romance. Some people are just naturally aromantic, while others might be aromantic from their life experiences. Being aromantic is not a choice, so someone that develops romantic feelings for others and chooses not to pursue those feelings is not aromantic. Let us go over some examples. A person that gets aroused by other people but has no desire for romance with anyone is aromantic. A person that does not get aroused by other people and has no desire for romance with anyone is aromantic. A person that does not get aroused by others and they would like to be in a romantic relationship with someone is not aromantic.
Heard about sociopathy or ASPD? Do people genuinely think we don't have emotions and can't feel love? People with ASPD often do have trouble connecting with others. Once we find that one person, there's a fierce loyalty, and we will put in the extra effort to make it work. The only emotions we don't feel are guilt, remorse, and empathy. We are human, I think. Love for me means adapting. Adapt to the needs of those who I love. And this is hard for me, because my first instinct is always to look after myself. Self-preservation is key. I will figure out what's the best mirror to them. I'll give them what they want out of a friend or a partner. I'm still never submissive in any relationship. People say we can't hold friendships or relationships. I have friendships lasting over 2 decades. They've proven their loyalty, and I would do anything if wasn't attached to people. But if I did, here's what I would do to stop it. The first step is dehumanization. I see people as a set of characteristics. I evaluate what they bring to my life. I have no time for toxic and disloyal people. If I developed a new crush on a person, I would turn off all notifications so I wouldn't get a dopamine hit when I see their name on my phone. I would also actually change their names in my phone to something that doesn't bring me happiness. I would restrict calling and texting. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, and hot and cold always wins. Do not engage sexually. This is the fastest way to lose any power you have in the situation. Lastly, keep your options open. Go on as many dates as you like. Just do not engage physically. This is so important with the Andrew Tate boys trying to subjugate. I'm a diagnosed sociopath, and this is how I handle disrespect. I worked in investment banking before my grandma died. Because women are easy targets in this field, men are incredibly hostile to us. They try to elicit an emotional response. If you just act bored and uninterested, it makes them look stupid. If you want to make them uncomfortable, hold eye contact for as long as possible, and then stare up at their forehead and then back to the eyes. Instead of degrading you, they're too worried about their own appearance. In a personal relationship, if someone disrespects me, I don't act in the moment. I am so good at building up people's confidence, but also incredibly good at breaking it. Over the next few weeks, I can chip away at their self-esteem until there's nothing left. Since they're so reliant on me for their dopamine hit, they become a needy mess. Then I discard them to show how irrelevant they are. I'm a diagnosed sociopath, and this is how I handle disrespect. I am the antidote to Andrew Tate. The easy way to understand this is knowing two terms, public and private emotions. I can feel public emotions such as anger, sadness, humiliation, rejection, jealousy, but I can't feel private emotions like anxiety, empathy, remorse, guilt. I can have compassion and kindness. These two have nothing to do with empathy. When I was younger, I pathologically lied and stole. I felt no guilt or remorse for this because I didn't think it was wrong. I like, legally it's wrong, but I didn't feel anything. I still don't feel anything about this, but I wouldn't continue this behavior because it results in bad consequences for myself. Compassion and kindness are choices I actively make. I'm a diagnosed sociopath and I often get asked whether or I'm a diagnosed sociopath and I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of sociopathy. Because I have no anxiety, I go for job opportunities that I'm often not capable of and not qualified for. Somehow I always manage to get the job. If I get to the interview stage, I always get the job. Because I have no guilt or empathy, I will do whatever I need to get to the top. Some cons include my lack of consistency. I think there's been about 2 or 3 jobs where I just stopped turning up. I've gotten time off because my grandmother has died. My grandmother has now died 5 times. Unfortunately, she's still alive. I really wanted to work in the Whitsundays because it's just stunning. When I got there, I realized how old and boring everybody was, so I disappeared. In summary, I'm very good at getting jobs, I'm very bad at keeping them. I'm a diagnosed sociopath and I'm going to tell you the pros and sociopath, and here's why you shouldn't blame yourself for being conned by one of us. We are very good at what we do. Manipulation comes early and naturally in childhood.
Do you feel like everything needs to be gay? Because I feel like that's where y'all are going with it. Like, y'all are so happy to be in the limelight now that you want all of the limelight instead of sharing it with other people that are also marginalized. Okay. Like ACE people that are also marginalized. Thanks. So, as I said before, Lucas and Bianca must be stopped at all costs. No trauma bonds or struggle love romance here. Thank you. I'm getting used to the new Gomez, which is really good. Oh, Dr. Kingbot kind of looks like Anya Taylor-Joy. You know? And she's kind of also giving me undercover outcast vibes, but I guess we'll never get to know about that. I think it's really interesting that seeing Uncle Fester actually makes Wednesday smile. I'm sure I mentioned it before, but I just want to say it again. Alright. I think it's cool that the monster is a play on Jekyll and Hyde. However, even though they explained it, it wasn't explained very well, so I'm not even really sure how she got him to awaken. I know it was through some methods of torture, but like torturing him and then pretending to be his mommy so that he would do whatever she says. Like, how does that work? You know? Okay. Also, I think it's very interesting. Oh my god, did I not talk about Eugene? Side note, this is about Eugene. Eugene is the character that takes care of the bees. He is kind of an outcast among the outcasts, and she treats him like her little brother. She's one of the only people in this show that she shows genuine feelings for and says things that sound more normal than when she's talking to other people. So, yeah, Eugene, honorable mention. I was also scared they were going to kill him. When I thought they were going to kill him, I was like, you better not kill Eugene. Don't do it. Don't do it. Alright, and I think that Wednesday genuinely loves Eugene. Like, more than Enid, and more than Xavier, more than Tyler. I think she genuinely loves Eugene. So suck it. Suck it, science. The Duff movie, I love it. But yeah. Bianca and the Colts, delete a spin-off show. You're gonna hear me say that again, okay? People need to stop expecting Wednesday to be normal, even if it's their own version of normal. I think I got into this before with the Enid thing. Even if you're weird, stop expecting her to be your brand of weird. She's obviously on an island all by herself. She actually likes it. Like, every time she had a heart-to-heart, even when she had like a heart-to-heart with Bianca, it was literally talking about how she wished she gave more of a damn. And she doesn't. So let's just calm it down. Okay, let's just calm it down. allow her to be herself. I think it would have been really good if they had really just allowed her to be herself and had the show be everyone's journey to accepting themselves for exactly who they are, the same way that Wednesday is exactly who she is. You know? The idea of being an outcast among the outcasts is interesting. So, you know, like Wednesday and Eugene kind of being pushed aside among people that are supposed to be their brethren. It was an interesting idea. I don't think they kept to it very well, but it was a good idea. Alright? Like I said before, I like the date that Tyler planned for Wednesday. Sue me. I don't like them, but I like the date. Wednesday should be ashamed of everything she did to Xavier. I think she is a little bit, but I need a little bit more shame. Because, girl, absolutely not. And Xavier is a simp for forgiving her this quickly. Like, bro, relax. Okay? The sheriff ain't right for turning a blind eye to what's happening with his son. But every time he was at Wednesday, he an owl detective. He turned his head behind his eyes. Like, relax, nigga. Thank you. Alright? I like Enid and things relationship. I also like Enid and Wednesday's relationship as friends. I think it was really cool. Okay? I also think that I really liked how Crackstone, when he just got out of the crypt, how he just stabbed Wednesday and called it a day. No big speeches and plans and revealing. He just stabbed her and said, "Hasta la vista, bye." That was it. I like that. Stab her and get to the point. That was very modern, and I mean modern in a good way. You know how people like make fun of villains? If you didn't spend so much time telling everybody your whole plan, you would have. Well, that nigga still lost, but I like the effort shown that he really was just trying to get to business. Alright? I loved what Edith did as a werewolf because she got them moves. Alright? And I think I liked Eugene and the bee chromancy that he did, where he was controlling the bees. I guess that might be his quirk. I watch My Hero, so that's what I'm going to call it, his quirk. I also have here that, did Tyler ever really love Wednesday? And I want to get into that for like a few seconds before we get into everything else that I have left to talk about in this video. Did Tyler really love her? I'm sure people could argue that he did really care, but there are parts of it where it seemed like everything he did could have all gone towards Thornhill's plans. So did he really care about her? Or did he care about her a little and the rest of it was a plan? Or did he not really care about her at all? Because I thought he cared about her a little, which is why I thought it was believable that he was trying to, when he walked in with her in Thornhill. But apparently maybe he's not. Okay. But anyways, let's just get into the themes and the music. I used to say, back when I was a kid, any song can be elevated by some good violin. And when it comes to the cello, the same rules apply. The cello, the bass cello. Let me stop. I can go on forever. I loved it. I loved it. I loved the theme song. I loved her cello solo in the first episode. I was like, this is just giving me, it's just giving me some good music. And I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. The theme song will be on my playlist. That's how you know it's good. The theme song will be on my playlist. Absolutely. The background music was incredible. All of that. So I will definitely be looking for that soundtrack. Okay? And I will be putting it in my playlist. Let's just go quickly into the last few things I have to talk about. The themes and the scenery. Everything was so dark and gloomy and gothic. I was shocked when I saw everybody's costumes were in blue. Not costumes, uniforms. I thought it was black, but you know, I guess they had to make, you know, Wednesday an outcast in a sea of outcasts, so they had to make her stand out. Apparently her being gothic was seen as weird, which I think was kind of annoying. I was hoping that it would have been a little bit more her speed. Not that there would have been people that were clones of her, but it almost seemed like it was just a normal high school. The only difference was there wasn't really bullies, and which is a good thing. That's actually a big difference between regular high schools. There wasn't really bullies, but everybody was just regular high school factions, nerd, jocks, pops, quirks. Only difference is they have powers. So it's like if a regular high school had kids with powers and they were less likely to bully, that's Nevermore, you know? So it's like, that was a little disappointing. I wish they had really dug into the Gothica in terms of the students themselves, but that's okay. You can't always get what you want. I might have to find another show to see if it's there. I hear anime might have some stuff. Guys, if you have been watching my videos for a while and you're thinking of, and you have some anime you'd want me to watch, let me know down below so I can watch it and make a review. So, I loved the theme of Poe Cup, Edgar Allan Poe, Nevermore. Loved it. Loved that theory of that backtrack. I even liked some of the over talking. I liked the nightshades. I liked the snap riddle. There was a lot that I did like about the school and the lore and the background. I liked Morticia, Larissa, and Gomez's backstory in the school. I just liked all of it. It was really good. I think the show was a real 10 out of 10. Would recommend. It's a great show. Could it have been better? Definitely. However, I'm not going to talk about everything that the show could have been better at. That's not my place right now. I think the show was good enough that it deserves people just taking it for what it is. I can say what I didn't like, but I'm not going to be like, well, you could have done differently all the way through. You know, like, no, like, they were good enough. I hope they get a season 2. For me, if I hope something gets a season 2, that means I really give it the highest esteem and the highest regard. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. The next video I post will be a Blood and Water video. It's going to be significantly shorter, not more than 10 to 13 minutes, because this season was kind of, I'm not gonna say anticlimactic because that's not true, but something about it just felt off to me. And when I figure out what that is, then I'll make a video, okay? So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope we get to see a season 2. And goodbye, Simmer. Susu.